Maybe a little one?
So, if you listened in last week, we introduced the idea that we want to do a book club, but it's a book club with particular standards. So we would have just one author to read, Mr. Chuck Tingle.
Twice Hugo nominated.
Twice Hugo nominated
Author
for trolling,
Chuck Tingle.
maybe a little bit alt-righty reasons, but he only lives it. He lives the dream.
He lives it entirely.
And he has nothing to do with those people, as far as I understand it. So
absolutely not.
Absolutely not. It's more the case of the alt-right are trying to poke fun at, what is it, the prize?
They were annoyed at the inclusion of non-white men
in
being nominated for the Hugo Award.
Hugo Award, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So decided to...
Then they figured out how to game the system
and get votes for
get him on
gay
the on
erotica,
nominations. Yeah.
Joke, novelty, erotica. However, these things are 4,000 words. I read it in 10 minutes.
Yep. Which one are we doing today, Tom?
We are doing Pounded by the Pound, Turned Gay by the Social Economic Implications of Britain Leaving the European Union. And can I say, I identified with this book immediately. Because the book opens with a man waking up in a hangover and not knowing what the fuck is going on, and then turning to their housemate, whose name is Chrissy Buttmore, and then basically filling in the gaps. And by filling in the gaps,
they're mostly his.
And it's some like trans-universal time dilation rimming thing.
Absolutely. Do you want to give us a rundown of the of what happens in this?
Okay.
I highly recommend, if you can get a copy easily enough.
Spoilers, by the way.
Go read it and then come back and listen to this. If not, we'll try to cover everything here.
I mean, these things literally cost like a couple quid on Amazon, and
this one comes with another story afterwards,
which we're actually going to do for the next book.
We will, yeah,
because it might as well save money. And the name of it intrigues me. So basically, opens up with a hangover, and our main character, whose name is Alex Liverport, which that is a very...
It's a good name.
It's a good name. That's a D&D name if ever I heard one. Alex Liverport.
And it applies to some of what happens with his hero's journey.
And I've got to say, like, the way he's constructed the book and the narrative and the story arc, and actually just like... It keeps you in... It's actually really well written, is what I'm trying to say.
I would say that there is a... there are some typographical... I wouldn't... Maybe not errors, but maybe typographical misplacements.
There's also a lot of spelling mistakes.
Yeah, but maybe this is in some way representative of the fact he didn't proofread this one, because as Michael Gove said during the the whole Leave campaigns, like, people are tired of experts. Mm-hmm. So he obviously was looking at this and thought, maybe I don't need an expert in to come and judge this. And I think that's maybe a comment on that. Anyway, carry on.
Wow, you really did do some book analysis, didn't you?
Bitch.
All right, cool. So basically, yes. Alex wakes up and hungover as fuck, has no memory of the night before. We've all been there. He turns around to his housemate, Chrissy, who reminds him that the night before they'd been in the pub watching the vote come in for the referendum on us leaving the European Union, Brexit. Mm-hmm. He remembers that they were drowning their sorrows and basically cathartically drinking their pain away. As it is put in this, after a night of alcohol-fueled depression and social political terror. Which, if you listen to our podcast that we recorded on that night...
It kind of feels like a personal attack.
Yeah. No, it's not so much a personal attack, it's more just reflection I got from that.
I feel seen.
Yeah. At that moment, I just wanted to, like, pat my chest 2 times and go, my brother, you know? So it opens with that, and basically in a bit of a washed out state, he strolls walks the streets of London and ends up at the River Thames, parks himself down on a bench, at which point he admires the very blue River Thames, which I couldn't quite put my head round. Blue water of the River Thames, but then it kind of works out that there is a rift.
I've got which is like the rift comes as a blue lightning strike.
Yes, blue lightning strike across the sky, through which he sees basically like a war-torn, on flames London through it.
He does indeed.
I mean, he's around the M15, MI5 building. M15, MI5
well,
building.
No, he's kind of near Westminster at this point. So,
oh, is it?
Yeah. He's not far from the Houses of Parliament when he sits down.
Yeah, and he sees a giant coin,
sentient pound coin
called, what was its name?
Purber.
Yeah, Purber.
Which now I will admit I couldn't. I wasn't able to find a read on that. I didn't see what he was going for, but that's fine. Sometimes a name's just a name. Sometimes.
And basically coaxes him through this time portal, a rift in space time, to the future.
A month in the
future. And bemused, Alex turns around to the coin and basically says, "Where am I? Where is this happening?" He asked the mysterious pound. "You're in the future," explains the giant sentient monetary instrument. "But it's not safe. Follow me." So basically the coin, Purber, explains that London has gone to shit. Well, England has gone to shit. There have been so many cutbacks that the Queen's Guard are now half snake, half bat hybrids that MI5 were investigating the use of.
And they're now flying overhead, firing machine guns. Yeah,
because it was cheaper than using actual humans.
And also,
as guards.
The same thing was they rolled out they rolled out new buses super quick, and rather than double deckers, which are kind of iconic for London, they started doing quadruple deckers or four deckers that fell over almost instantly.
Yeah, I mean, bendy buses are bad enough, but only to cyclists. So fuck 'em.
Quad deckers.
Quad deckers was a bad idea. So basically, the reason why Purber is a coin is explained quite quickly. And the idea is basically that the pound had such little value 1 month after leaving the European Union that the populace of the England had to turn into pound coins in order to give the currency some value. Which I went, oh shit, I'm reading a very well written story now.
So that in itself is a really interesting take on quantitative easing, which like if you're unaware,
Alex doesn't quite get it.
No.
As you shouldn't.
But so quantitative easing is something that the government will do if the economy starts to tank or like they're low on funds. They will just start printing more money, and which is kind of changed. It has this whole kind of knock-on effect to interest rates and export rates and stuff. But in this, they literally turned the English populace into money.
Yeah, which is fucking genius. Don't ask him how, but that's what happened.
Not explained. Don't need to.
Doesn't need to. No, to be fair, to keep the story moving, it doesn't need it. So it moves on. So basically, Purber takes Alex to a pub where he kind of explains what's going on. So Alex, whilst drunk on the night of the referendum results, leaves a note basically apologising to the future for what his generation have done, or what the people around his time have done. And he has no memory of this, and which Purber's
it's mentioned because the note he throws in, he puts in a wine bottle and throws into the Thames.
Yeah, that's right.
He remembers throwing the bottle into the Thames, but he doesn't remember the note until this moment.
And when asked, "Do you remember writing it and tossing it into the river?" by Purber, he hesitates and finally decides the honest answer: "I was pretty drunk." Which I can identify with.
Instant identity.
We've all thrown notes into the River Thames whilst drunk.
That's what it's there for.
Who hasn't? I mean, that's like love locks on a bridge in Eastern Europe. Like, everyone's done it. So this is where on the Kindle app you will start to see a lot of highlights, which means a lot of people have really loved these sentences. So basically, at this point in the pub, he's exposition pub. It is the pub of exposition,
and the pub of boning.
And spoilers, there might not be boning.
There's definitely boning.
I mean, Alex at one point when explaining the whole people turning in coins just says none of this makes any sense. The coin counters, but it's all we've got left. You're all we've got left, which is lovely. So basically, the coin explains to Alex that the only way they can't go back in time and change the vote. They can't go back and persuade the English people not to vote themselves out of the European Union, because that will create a split in time, a new timeline, which will not correct the actual problems of the current timeline. What they need to do, the answer, all you need is love. Love is all you need. As the Beatles once very shittily put it. So, I mean, this is where the book gets really good.
Here cometh le bone.
I mean, shall I just read?
No.
Shall I just read this passage?
So I think it's worth leaving something for our listeners to actually read. So I think it's enough to say that sex happens now.
Well, let's put it this way. Alex thinks, well, he says, I think you might be onto something. Walks over and starts caressing the coin. Bear in mind, he's a straight man at this point.
He is indeed.
He's a straight man. Remember the title of the book.
I mean, to be fair, his sexuality has not been staged up at this point, which
but it becomes evident very quickly.
It does.
Very quickly, in fact, because after touching the very subtle edge and texture of the coin, his cock quickly stiffens within his pants, growing harder and harder with every passing moment as he wallows in the presence of the beautiful currency. Fucking Chuck Tingle, you beautiful man. I love you. And I mean, there's a lot of wanking and blowjobbing that happens with the monetary rod, as Chuck Tingle puts it, the massive size of his monetary rod. But the line that sums it up the best, and that sums up the title of the actual book itself, is as he wipes the spit from his mouth, he gives a coin a playful wink. Sorry about that. It's the first time. It's my first time, he tells him. I guess this social economic disaster has had at least one upside. It's turned me gay. I mean, skip ahead a bit.
Right,
I want you to fuck me, I tell the coin. I want you to fuck me up my tight gay ass. Just like we fucked ourselves with this vote. I mean, it's great. It's great. The sex scene you just need to read because it's just hilarious and a little sexy, I'm going to be honest. Yeah, go. That's 2 pages of sex scene. Let's keep going. So basically, the coin perver and Alex go back to the current day. They end up in a pub, the same pub, in fact, and try to reason with the patrons of the pub that love is all we need. Love is all we need. Love is all we need. And they start singing. And people are just getting annoyed and pissed off and want all the foreigners out of the country and all that kind of stuff. Until they change the lyrics a bit. And they say, all you need is butts.
Butts is all you need.
Butts is all you need, exactly. You know where this is going. I've accidentally just locked my tablet.
It's fine. So this and from there, the coin makes a rousing speech of the membership of the.
Do you want the actual line?
Yeah, go for it.
We're a fantastic country with a rich heritage, announces the living pound. But being part of the European Union does not take away from us what makes us Brits. In fact, the EU just means there are even more butts to go around. German butts, French butts, Spanish butts, Perber cries. There is no end to the variety when you open your heart's butt to your neighbours. So when it comes time to vote, please keep your asses wide open. I mean, that basically sums up the entire book. It's a lovely little metaphor.
So I've got some analysis.
Yeah.
So if we go back to the beginning, so the whole thing starts with our hero Alex waking up. His room is entirely normal, but there's an unplaceable sense of differentness, and like I think this is good. Like this kind of captures a shared experience felt by about 48% of the British electorate, and also this kind of sets up a recurring theme of normal but different. We see it again when Alex leaves the house after talking to his roommate
Chrissy,
where
he's
looking around and everyone's going about their day. People are walking dogs. A kebab shop, or in the parlance, it's a kebab shop.
It's a kebab shop.
Is serving up customers, which is weird phraseology. So it wasn't clear whether they were serving up food to customers or actually serving up the customers to each other. But
wow, you really did do some analysis.
And then the other weird thing is because he's in Westminster at this point. I don't know of a kebab shop in Westminster, but it's fine.
No.
And then we also get that again, but at the end, like when they return to like the pre-Brexit pub, but he very cleverly turns it on his head, where everything is back to the same how it was, but now our hero is changed. He's different because he's seen the future, and he's come to resolve it. Yeah, I mean that's part of it. So I'll take us back to the beginning. So as he wakes up, there's a really interesting use of a hangover as a qualifier for how he's entirely familiar, but he kind of feels dissociated from it somehow.
Yeah,
and I think
it's not quite amnesia.
And I think this use of hangover as a qualifier could represent the beginnings, like a representative beginnings of withdrawal from the European dream. We move on quickly from this to like talking to our roommate Chrissy Butmore. She goes.
Sorry.
She goes on to explain the situation, like what happened last night. And here like kind of memory starts returning to Alex.
Yeah.
And it's all Alex kind of recounts how like when he saw the vote was coming in to leave, he got drunk. And I thought this was an interesting choice on the part of the author, because substance abuse often stems from like a lack of meaningful connection. And in this case, it seems to be instigated by a sudden separation anxiety caused by the vote to leave. I think this is kind of backed up. Now, I had a read on this to begin with, but obviously this kind of bears out a different way later on in the book. But like he talks about like from where he was drinking, he goes for like a rampage like around the corner, and then he throws an empty bottle into the Thames.
Yes,
which I found kind of symbolic of him throwing his empty dreams into the shortest route to the European mainland.
We've all been there.
But obviously, we kind of find out later on that he kind of put this note in the bottle where he spoke about his regrets, and this was picked up in the future. And so his regrets are no longer regrets. This is a means to change.
No, I believe what he sealed in the bottle was hope.
Oh, well, yeah. Like in retrospect, by the end of the story, yeah. It speaks of a lost hope, but it turns out not entirely lost.
I don't know. Have you seen the news recently?
So after like as this conversation between he and his roommate kind of sort of starts winding down, he kind of starts talking about how like he looks out the window and how everything seems so normal, and he's almost lulled by this kind of normality of it all. And like I think we've got a Plato's cave analogy going on here. Like he's seen like he's seen the truth, but then he's gone back to the shadows for a second. But here, like Chrissy Butmore kind of takes on one of Plato's
cave and the Chrissy Butmore in the same fucking breath. You can't.
Chrissy Butmore takes on the role of one of Plato's guardians, who knows like the truth of the
Not one
sunlight,
of the bad reptile ones.
and then comes back to Alex, who's kind of gone back to the shadows, going, yeah, no, but remember, like this is, it does look normal, but this isn't what it is now. This isn't how things are. Which I personally found fascinating. So it's like after he's kind of been disabused of that fantasy once again, he leaves the house. And
in Joris, he does have 2 pages of notes.
And again, like this revisits the theme of everything seems normal, life is normal, but there's some unsettling intrinsic change. And after he kind of sees Westminster, that's where we get the normality is rent by this blue lightning, which he
immediately identifies as a rip in space time. Which, all right, he's so hungover he can't remember what's going on the night before, but immediately identifies a rip in space time as what it is.
I mean, to be fair, if I'm hungover and I see something that wild, I'm probably going to assume it's man.
The Matrix is rebooting.
Einsteinian physics is just broken.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I kind of saw this this rent of blue lightning as echoing the sudden shock of leaving the EU. And
fucking hell.
As you said, like on the other side, it's here we meet the last sentient pound coin. It's holding open this rift in time, and we find on the other side, London is aflame and the Thames is blood. And it's only been a month. Now, you kind of brought up your confusion about him sort of talking about, he sort of mentions how blue the Thames is. Here. I kind of point you back to him specifically mentioning the lightning strike to kind of the reality of what's going to happen. That's also blue. And then when he goes through to the reality and like you see the horror of the blood red Thames. So the only colours he mentions in this book is the red, white, and the blue. Like the white is the pearliness of the cum. The red is the blood of the Thames.
I forgot to say that in the point of the story. The cum is actually the thing that like sends them back in time.
I'll get to that, man.
Okay.
I'll get to that. Don't you worry.
Chuck Tingle, I love you.
For fuck's sake,
I want to meet you.
Much.
I want to meet you.
So kind of the white, the pearliness of the cum is kind of like a baseline. This is like this can take us. This brought someone back from the terror to the normal. This is kind of like a baseline.
Yeah.
The red of the Thames, I think that kind of represents the George's Cross, like, and also the Dragon of Wales. Also, these are the two like most significantly sort of Brexit voting countries.
But the creature that lives in the dark.
Whereas the blue,
the Scottish,
the blue of the Thames before he goes to the future, and the blue of the rent in time space. That represents the cross of St Andrews, which voted to remain. Which
the dichotomy that was brought up by the country going to referendum.
Absolutely, I personally found that like a very clever use of colour.
You can't laugh. You've got to keep a straight face.
Okay, so I think it's interesting to point out here that what we have in Pounded by the Pound, Turned Gay by the Socioeconomic
implications of Britain leaving the EU.
Thank you very much.
Come on, mate.
We've got a story here of 2 parts. Like there's the surface level story, which is a scared Brit in socio-political trauma, not only coming to terms with, but embracing the macroeconomic anxiety that kind of comes with this. Literally, he fucks the pound coin. Now, I think...
I believe the pound coin fucked him. And
when you fuck, you fuck. It doesn't matter who puts what where.
Mutual,
you fuck.
Yep, fair enough. It was a mutual thing. It wasn't so much.
Now, I mean, so there could be some comment on capitalism here. So as like the goodness is given back to him, like the people are turned into money, but also that money kind of brings. Like someone like brings Alex, brings our hero back to a place where he can do something. Which, like, I don't know, it's a mixed signal. And personally, I think this is for a commenter with a redder head than my own to kind of comment on.
I do believe at this point there are actual allegorical ideas that are being pulled from socialism rather than from capitalism. The people are your currency.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And there's there's this idea that
the idea that the entire populace of the England have turned themselves into a single £1 coin, redistributing the wealth accordingly to exact equalness.
Is that how you read it? I understood it to be that everyone was turned into pound coins rather than everyone was turned into £1 coin.
No, not into one single £1 coin.
But they were all
everyone
turned
was
into pound
a
coins.
£1 coin, and Perber is the last remaining coin.
Now, okay, so I think the more interesting story here that's being told is, I suspect actually Chuck Tingle's like making a very profound commentary on British, more so perhaps English national identity. So let's get into that now. So when when Alex goes to month in the future London, where everything's burning,
I'm on the page.
So Bizarro Britain is awash with degradations of classic English iconography. So we've already talked about
Monstrous Wind Guardsmen,
the monstrous Queen's Guardmen. We've also got the 4-decker buses that immediately fell over, and these have all come about from
abandoned pubs. Even
these have all come. Yeah, and abandoned pubs, indeed.
Yeah.
But like the pub kind of does double duty here, but as we'll see. So both the reptilian guards and the 4-decker buses, they've come around from rapid kind of cost cutting and corner cutting, and they've both ended disastrously. I think there's a line in there where like the pound says, so like MO5 has been holding on, like they've been developing these bat snake soldiers, and they decided to use them instead of the Queen's Guards, and it did not end well.
Well, the actual line from Perber is the government couldn't afford to pay the Queen's Guard anymore, so we used these unfinished snake and bat hybrids that the MI5 have been deploying, explains the coin. It was not a good idea.
It's a very, very good use of litotes, the opposite of hyperbole.
And Alex responds with, I can see that. It's just the most matters-of-fact way of doing it, but also in a monologue, then goes, what I am most curious about is how the future managed to create such a massive, living, breathing pound, but I say nothing.
So like there's a note to be made here about how these British symbols, not only like the bus and the guards, but also like the Thames is blood and London is a flame. Like,
literally the lifeblood of the city when it was being created.
Absolutely, yeah. This has all come about from these rushed and cost cutting. Like these corner cutting methods, which I think, I think that's very representative of the vote in itself and how rushed and like
ill-informed.
Absolutely,
yeah.
But there's another use of iconography which I find interesting. So his use of other Britishisms.
My cock's quickly stiffening within my pants.
No, these happen particularly during the Smash Fest with the hunky nugget I've written here. So first things first, they fuck in a pub. Like the pub is
There's nothing more British than
British
that.
institution.
In it, behind it, on it. Yeah, that's British.
The coin's phallus is referred to as a British banger.
At one point, yeah. A monetary rod as well.
And also there is like this constant refrain of the Beatles, all you need is love. And like these, I feel
Butts
these are
is all you need.
Like these are a call to a sense of British, particularly English national identity.
English invasion, one might say.
Ooh, give me a second on that.
Okay.
This is like I feel like because these references are made without any degradation, without any distortion or any decadence. Like they're just like earnest calls to like the national identity.
Mm-hmm.
So when the coin finally fills with in quotes here, warm coin spunk, the power of love is brought to fruition. So this was mentioned earlier on. So the way the coin first created a tear in space time. Was through like a manifestation of its patriotic love for the country,
and the note that he found from Alex.
It's exactly that was the stemming thing, right? So obviously
that's the reason why Perber found him.
But you'll remember that conversation was very much you need to come now. There's no time to explain. Like this
was
rented
one of my
time.
main notes.
This rented time was difficult for Purba to maintain.
Yeah.
But when he says like all you need is love. So that's why they fuck, and this creates the time warp to go back to before the votes. And when they get there, they're pleased to avert the coming Brexit disaster is met with derision and also an open hostility to European immigrants. The Pound's attempt to appeal to their national identity with a refrain of "all you need is love" falls on deaf ears. I should also point out, like, as extra like Britishness for this idea of "all you need is love," love is the most powerful thing. This kind of also brings to mind, it kind of calls the Harry Potter saga to mind, where like love creates the most powerful magic in that. It's love that protects Harry. Which again, this is another appeal to like absolute Britishness. But also, once Purba's calls of "all you need is love" kind of just fall on deaf ears to this English publican crowd, he changes the call to "all you need is butts," and this has an immediate effect. So there's this second story, the first one being like a man coming to terms with the macroeconomic anxiety by fucking the literal pound. The second one, I feel Chuck Tingle is making some very profound commentary on British, particularly English identity. And here's what I've got. Is Tingle suggesting that our national spirit persists, but it just needs reframing from a lofty abstract like love to something relatable and tangible like butts? Or is he saying that the British can only be British when they've got something to fuck? Which is an interesting take on like the post-imperial mindset.
No. I have a feeling it harkens back to even colonial sort of feelings nowadays, where there is almost a rose-tinted specks view of our colonial nation.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of reflected in Purba and Alex's love, especially in the passage, "I love you," Purba emits, tears of joy in his eyes, "and I want to come inside you. Please," I tell him with a wry smile on my face as I reach down and spread my reamed arsehole open. Now, if that isn't reflection on your past self,
or kind of like you said, a romanticized view of colonialism.
Like, this is post Alex coming as well, as he says it, while spinning like a helicopter and buckets of coming out of him.
So this is the question, right? Is Mr. Tingle
reflection?
Is he talking? Is he honestly saying like? And I don't believe he'd be entirely wrong in suggesting that maybe a huge part of British identity now is needing to fuck something.
No.
On national scales,
it's self-reflection.
Whether
it's imperialism,
it's our own nation, or if it's fucking other nations,
it's imperialism.
Yeah, well, absolutely. That's that. Yeah, we're talking about the same thing and using different terms.
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
I did take one quote.
Come, pick up. Pace.
Final one. What do you think Alex meant when he said, "I love being pounded by my pound"?
That's identifying.
He doesn't say
as
like being
Brit.
pounded by the pound. You think that's just identification? That's
my
him.
Pound.
That's him recognizing like
his own nation,
his British identity.
Yes. Well, while I've never been
again,
one
like
to...
I said, I think there's some sort of commentary on capitalism here, but I haven't read enough Tingle
this is a man. No, ignoring Tingle's fine other works, this is a man who went to a pub to watch the vote results come in for Brexit. This is a man who cares about his nation.
Invested. I mean, I didn't stay up. I got home from work. I went to bed. I woke up.
No, I did give a fuck.
And then I saw we voted to leave, and I laughed the laugh of the damned.
Yeah. We did the usual thing that we usually do and go, yes, the world is fucked.
Yeah.
But you know what I am going to do now, which is the usual thing?
What's that?
I'm going to do a book review as a Mortal Coil Guess Who.
Oh, shit, yeah!
You ready for this one?
Yeah. Go for it.
I'm just wetting up my fingers.
Why are you wetting your fingers? Arses aren't naturally lubricated. Tom, what's happening right now? Is this who you're being? I don't understand. I feel like I'm Baby Hitler?
Close.
Baby Winston Churchill? Maggie Simpson?
Well done, Maggie Simpson. Reviews. Chuck Tingle's Pounded by the Pound. I did it.
Oh, you did something.
I sucked on my wet fingers.
So yeah, there ends my analysis of Pounded by the Pound.
And basically the big takeaway is that no matter what life throws at you, be it a Brexit vote not going your way, be it border walls being built or not so built, or a fucking orange what's it being in power in the United States, I'm going to leave you with the last lines of this book.
Please do. I think this is important. We need closure.
Love is the real answer. It's one of the last things that Purvis says in the book. Love is the real answer. You know it, I know it. Sometimes it takes butts to get people's attention, though. Oh. I have faith that they'll look even deeper, understand the real meaning. You sure about that, I question? There's only one way to find out, the sentient coin says with a laugh.
Herber. A modern Socrates, that man.
He is a deep monetary value. Anyway, with that done, let's crack on. How long we got left?
Yeah, we got about 20 minutes.
Jesus Christ, that was a 40-minute long review, was it? Oh, fuck it. Mate, the fucking...
Let us know what you thought of
stale.
that.
Like, we need...
let us know what you thought of that, because I had lots of fun.
And if you didn't follow along and didn't read it, like, it's 4,000 words. You can read it in 10 minutes.
And then go back and listen to this. Yeah. It's easily found. We're going to do it the hour of each podcast from now on.
But basically, to save money for everyone out there who wants to join along, the Tingle Meister, Tingle himself, the Lord High Tingle, included in this Kindle download, and I'm going to guess the paperback as well, a free story. So we're going to read that one next. So if you've already purchased Pounded by the Pound, you will have Monday Pounds Me in the Butt. Some say that love is the soul of books, and what better way to show a little love than with a free gift? Here to tingle you to the core is a bonus story for your reading pleasure. Monday Pounds Me in the Butt by Chuck Tingle. That's the cover note. So we can just... it's, again, 4,000 words, so it's going to take you about 10 minutes to read. Oh, God, I've just flicked to the also by Chuck Tingle and...
No, come on, let's move on. We've got a show to do.
No, absolutely. But I'm going to point out that at the back, it has hyperlinked, like, list of books that they have, but it's categorized, which I never noticed. So we have dinosaur tinglers, unicorn tinglers, Bigfoot tinglers, living object tinglers, and then self-help, which is Chuck Tingle's Complete Guide to Romance, which I think may be our final, like, we need to do that at some point, and then novels. But by novels, one of them's called Buttergeddon, so...
Well, also, like, he does a recursive series, which starts off with Pounded in the Butt by my own butt. And this eventually becomes
God, it gets so good.
Pounded in my butt by my own butt, while being pounded in the butt by my own butt. So
it's Pounded in the Butt by the copy of the book that I wrote, Pounded in my butt by my own butt. And it just keeps going. It just keeps going.
So I'm
makes its own great.
It's good what you said. I feel like this has been such a fun exercise.
Well, I think
English literature degrees mean nothing to me now.
And to be fair, I really enjoyed the fact that the way it was structured, so we're going to definitely do it that way again.
Hell yeah.
Right, let's go on.
Whose draw is... do you know what? I think it's me to draw... Oh, sorry.